Welcome to Breaking Orbit Podcast, episode 19. I am your host, Frederick Douglass Bussey. I'm excited to be with you today. We have a great topic, exploring what it means to be successful, what true success is, and how we measure it. And for those of you who are on this pursuit of building something that is greater than yourself, or even building the greatest version of yourself, then I think this is going to be a really valuable and impactful conversation for you as well. If you're watching this live on Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn, feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you're discovering from this process, this conversation. Let me know where you are. As always, we'd love to welcome questions. That's one of the reasons why we do this live as well, so that we can be able to interact with people and be able to give feedback and converse in real time, if you will. As always, this episode is sponsored by none other than my book, Breaking Orbit. The title of this podcast, Breaking Orbit, Rip Out of the Regular by Unearthing the Power Within. This is available on Amazon.com. You can just search for it with my name, Breaking Orbit, Rip Out of the Regular by Unearthing the Power Within, by yours truly. And today we're going to be talking about the true meaning of success. Success is in your gift, and I can't wait to get to it. So let's get started. Breaking Orbit podcast starts now. So one of the things that I used to be consumed with was understanding what it meant to be successful. And success is a thing that is very clearly defined when you look at it, but very hard to define when you just speak about it in general terms. We might say that to be married, to have a great job, to be financially secure, to be physically and emotionally stable, those things would be considered successful. Most people might say that. But what that looks like for different people is very different depending on who you're looking at. And so that's why the needle moves so much. For one person, making $100,000 a year could be considered successful. For another person, $50,000 a year in terms of their career could be successful. For one person, having a college degree or a graduate degree or a PhD could be considered successful. For another person, finishing high school, right? Depending on your background, your environment, your expectations, all of those things can be shifting sand. They can move from one person to the next. And so you find a lot of people getting caught up, especially in this age of social media, at looking over their shoulder or looking at the person to the next to them or on their phone, on their timeline, and looking at people and saying, am I successful enough? Am I successful at all? How will I know when I get there? Where is there? And depending on who your parents were, what your environment was, there can be a notion of being successful that has been drilled into your head, that has been has created the framework for how you lived your life the entire time, from the time you were young to the time you go to college or graduate high school or whatever the case may be. You can often find yourself caught up in the matrix of one that was not your own choosing, right? Somebody else's framework for your life has been dictating all the rules. How do you know when you are successful? Well, if that has been given to you by someone else, then more than likely it has been outlined and you never can hit it until they tell you that you hit it. You've crossed the goal line. And I remember when I graduated college, I remember my fourth year, my senior year in college, I started to become very, very nervous. That's an understatement. I was terrified. I had no idea what I was going to do afterwards. I had only gone to college because I was going to have a fail safe in case my music career didn't take off. And because my music career had not yet taken off, me and the guys in my singing group were still pursuing that record deal. At the time, you couldn't just upload your music to the internet and become a star. You couldn't build your audience that way. You had to go through the gatekeepers of a record company. There were a lot of things that were just kind of out there that we were kind of wondering and hoping that we were making to happen, right? And so because of that, it was a very, very difficult thing. As my daughter comes in to share, how can I help you, sweetheart? with your lesson? Because we have to help. All right. Well, I'm talking on the podcast. So you have to click on the box below that has the same number of snakes in it as there are turtles. How many turtles are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. And how many snakes are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So is that the box you should click on? Mm-hmm. There you go. Okay, you got it right. All right. Hippos. Awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4. And find the same box that corresponds there. All right. Now can I finish? Can I finish the show? Okay. All right, you got it. Good. Awesome. So if you are considering yourself and wondering, am I successful enough? I can use my daughter as an example, right? I've got 3 kids. I'll get back to the story about the group in a second, but I've got 3 kids. Sometimes we have metrics and we're measuring, well, am I successful enough as a parent? Like, what does that look like? How do I judge my success based on how the lives of these 3 little people turn out, right? And so that's another kind of thing that you might think that you know, but sometimes it's difficult to articulate. For me, when I was getting ready to graduate college that senior year, I was terrified because I didn't know what I was going to do. A lot of other people seemed like they had jobs lined up, or they at least had job interviews, or they had internships. I had none of those things, so I didn't know what I was going to do. And so because of that, I slow walked the process. I just didn't graduate. I don't remember what I did. I took an incomplete or something. It turned out that I needed another class to graduate anyway. So I ended up taking another year of school. So I blew another 15 grand on college. Well, it wasn't that full much because I didn't take a full year of tuition, but I was there and I was able to kind of delay that process. And how many of us are delaying the process, even though we have lofty goals and things that we want to accomplish, because we're not sure of what it is that we're supposed to be doing, what that level of success is supposed to look like? For me, it looked like a record deal. For me, it looked like having this job and a security, or one or the other. Somewhere I need to be able to feel like I was winning at life, not just a broke college student, not just a broke college graduate. Which now looking back, you realize that so many college graduates are. Most people don't walk into the job of their dreams or their career for many different reasons, including the fact that for me, I believe college is in large parts a scam. And for those of you who want to send email to the editor, all that, you can do that. But the reason why I say that is because it's not that education is not valuable. It's not that it is not valuable to have training. It's not that the college environment cannot be useful, but it's that people are sold something that they don't get. And that even goes to the larger part of the conversation that we're talking about today about the podcast on the podcast about what it means to be successful. People are told that a college degree is the equivalent of success, not just a tool along the way. And the things that we use to define success are very rarely found through that college degree. Now, it's true that college graduates make over $1 million more in their lifetime. It's true that college graduates tend to have better outcomes in general. However, most college graduates do not become entrepreneurs. And in the Black community, I was looking at some statistics the other day. Your chances of becoming a millionaire as a whether you are a college graduate or not actually only increase from 1% to about 3% if you become an entrepreneur with that college degree, which means that becoming wealthy and successful in that measurement of success is not guaranteed. For most people, it's not guaranteed. And we're not saying that success has to be a guarantee, but what I have come to discover in writing this book, and that's why I'm sharing this in this podcast, that there is a level of success that we can all achieve, that we're all designed to. And it doesn't require a degree. It doesn't require a business. It doesn't require any of these external metrics that we use to measure that, right? When I walked across the stage finally in 1997 to get my college degree, I felt like all the time that I've been looking forward, that I was supposed to have this amazing feeling, this amazing sense of accomplishment and success. And what I actually walked away with was an emptiness. I woke up the following morning after graduation and I'm looking at my ceiling. I remember this distinctly, looking up at my ceiling and wondering, what am I going to do now? I had no idea. And so many people are taking those steps. They're walking from one place to the next. They are just in constant pursuit of success. But success is this foggy idea, and it's not something that people really understand how to pursue. Right. And so, what I want to leave with you today is that when you unlock your gift, right? And I talk about in the books that there are 3 laws of giftedness. One is that everyone is born with a special, unique, powerful gift. 2, that every gift has a purpose, right? And 3 is that your gift will not fail. And the third one is the one I want to hinge on today, because the fact that your gift cannot fail is such a powerful concept when you understand how you are meant to live your life and to lean into your uniqueness, your superpower, your giftedness. We're not taught how to do this. We're taught that all these other metrics about success matter. Therefore, all the other measurements of achieving that are the things that we should focus on. I need to focus on a degree, a career, a relationship, whatever the case may be, instead of focusing on who I am and then leaning into that and living into that and walking through that to be able to create a successful life. And imagine if you were a tool, say a hammer or a screwdriver. Imagine if you were a light bulb, even, and you were manufactured to create this very specific outcome. Light bulbs are designed to create light, to illuminate their environment. And imagine being a light bulb that when you got taken out of the box, they screwed you into the lamp or into the socket and you didn't work. You would feel that you would look at that light bulb and say, this is not successful. This is a failure. This is a broken, it's defective, right? And so many of us are going through life feeling as though we are broken or defective in many ways. And the reality is that we have been mislabeled or misused, right? And so think of it, if you were taking a light bulb and you put it and you stuck it in a plant holder, right? Or you tried to use it as a doorstop, or you tried to use it as a hammer to nail a nail into wood. If you are not being utilized in the way that you were designed to, you are going to be out of place. And for most people, most human beings are out of place. They are not being utilized. They are not using their gift. They do not understand the thing about them that makes them most valuable. A light bulb is a very delicate object, but when it is plugged into the right environment, when it is utilized for its proper purpose, it is extremely powerful. Think about what a light bulb can do, what it allows you to do when you flip that switch. And now you can be able to see what you're out to accomplish in this particular room. This is what it's like for us to be as human beings, to understand that the success is in our gift. And it's not in this external metric or these other frameworks that people are giving to us. It's really about you being everything that you were designed to be, particularly and uniquely, most powerfully. And once you unlock that gift, you're able to understand who you are, what your purpose is, and the zone of your genius where you're not going to fail. Failure is this thing that many of us are afraid of. And what I'm trying to get people to understand, to help them understand, is that you never have to fear failure again. Because failure comes in 2 forms. It comes in the form of you trying something and it not working, which creates a lesson for you to learn about what does work. And failure exists in the form of you not walking in your gift. If you're going to be a light bulb that never turns on, that never fits in the socket and gets utilized for the purpose of which you were created, you are a failure. But you don't have to fear that if you are leaning into your gift and discovering that. Granted, I talk about that in the book, but beyond that, there's a process that you go through, this process of development that allows you to master. I call that the dominance process, which is DOM, discovery, ownership, and mastery. You need to discover what your gift is. You need to own your gift and walk in it. And then you master that process so that you become an elite performer, an elite sharer of your gift and your giftedness. When you discover your gift, you will discover the secret to your success on your terms at the highest possible level. And I know this may sound like a conversation that other people are having, but no one is teaching you how to discover your gift, to walk in your genius, and to master that at a level that allows you to be able to make the contribution to this world and this universe the way that only you were designed to do. So I hope this has been a valuable conversation for you in introducing this as well. I'm putting together a short quiz to allow you to be able to understand your gift. If you would like to have that quiz, then comment below this video. I'll share the link with you to be able to get that when it's made available. If you would like to be able to do that, if you would like to be able to understand how you can be successful at the highest possible level, you would be surprised at the number of people that have achieved amazing, incredible things and still don't feel, quote unquote, successful. And partly that's because success is not a feeling, but also it's because when you are always wondering, always in pursuit of what is the thing that I was meant to do? Why doesn't this feel meaningful? Why doesn't the money make me happy? Why don't the material things, the mansion, the cars, this relationship, this marriage, having kids, whatever it is, why don't these things, this title that I have, why don't they make me happy? Why don't they fulfill me? And that's because your gift is a thing that allows you to be able to have that significance and meaning. When I'm walking in my gift, I know that I am fulfilling the purpose for which I was created. I can feel it in every fiber of my being. And it has afforded me the luxury of being able to choose and to do things that I never thought I would be able to do. And I know that beyond that, I can achieve and create new opportunities and new things that I want to be able to do simply because I have a gift and I know where to apply it. And wherever I go, there is my gift, which means that wherever I go, I will be successful. And that's an amazing feeling to be able to have. Most people never experience anything near that because we are always having these external metrics to gauge how successful we are. We're waiting for someone else to validate our value. And you never have to do that. You can define success on your own terms, and that is through understanding, discovering, owning, and mastering your gift. If this has been valuable for you, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this conversation. Please drop a comment below. If you're watching this on YouTube, drop a comment, give us a thumbs up, smash the like button, subscribe. Please share this with someone that you feel like would be valuable for them as well. Follow us on YouTube, on Icon Status. Search for the Icon Status. We'll drop a link to that in the video below. That's where we host this podcast. And for those of you who are in this process of discovering and owning your gift and finding that level of success that most only dare to dream of, then I encourage you to reach out. Let us know how we can support you in achieving the greatest mastery that a human being can ever do. Hi, Amy. Good to see you. Thanks so much for stopping by. For all of those of you who stopped by for a second, a minute, give us a thumbs up, a like, whatever. I appreciate you. Life is about owning, walking in your gift. And once you do that, you'll have and experience a legendary life. My name is Frederick Douglass Bussey. This has been Icon Status Breaking Orbit Podcast, episode 19. Ever forward.
I mean, most people just aren't raised to have a great sense of self, of who they are. They tell us to be ourselves, but we're never given a blueprint to discover who that is. So that's why, inevitably, people reach across worlds in life. They look up and just feel lost because they've spent 20, 30, 40 years living by someone else's definition of who they should be. They may realize that all the things they thought they wanted for themselves were really things they were programmed to want by others. So that leads to the two most important questions of all. Who am I? And what do I want? For those who live with this question burning inside, I wrote Breaking Orbit for them.